Russia has imposed sanctions on 333 Canadian officials and public figures. The Kremlin says this is a response to Canadian restrictions on Moscow and the country's support for Ukraine. The sanctioned individuals include Canada's Governor-General, Mary Simon, and more than 250 members of regional legislative assemblies. Canadian athletes who have publicly supported a ban on Russians competing at the 2024 Olympics have also been sanctioned. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin met Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal at the Pentagon. This comes at a time when the U.S. national security agencies are investigating the leak of dozens of classified documents. During the meet, Austin gave assurances to the Ukrainian leader. He said that the U.S. would lend military support to Ukraine's ongoing counteroffensive against Russia for as long as it takes. South Korea's military has said that North Korea has fired a ballistic missile of intermediate or longer range. The launch came days after North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called for strengthening the country's war deterrence in a more practical and offensive manner. North Korea's leader made the call to counter what Pyongyang called moves of aggression by the US. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has landed in Shanghai. Lula is expected to meet President Xi Jinping in Beijing on Friday and discuss common interests. He's seeking to put Brazil back on the international stage after a period of cold China-Brazil ties under former President Jair Bolsonaro. China overtook the US as Brazil's top trading partner in 2009. It's a major market for Brazilian soybeans, iron ore, and oil. French President Emmanuel Macron has said that his country's position on Taiwan has not changed. According to Macron, France favors the current status quo in respect to the island. Macron added that France does not support provocations, does not support fantasy politics, and considers the status quo, respect, and clarity are the best ally of Europe's strategic autonomy. Syria's Foreign Minister Faisal Mekdad is in Saudi Arabia. The landmark visit signals that Syria's decade-long regional isolation is nearing an end. It is the first visit by a senior Syrian diplomat to the kingdom in more than a decade. The visit comes following an agreement between Riyadh and Damascus to re-establish ties and reopen their embassies. Chilean students faced off with police in the capital, Santiago. It was during a march against a new law that calls for harsher punishments for crimes against the police. Protesters threw objects at the riot police when faced with multiple water cannons. The controversial law was published this week in Chile's official gazette and has also been criticized by human rights groups. Police and teachers in Bolivia clashed during a protest in the capital, La Paz. Bolivian teachers are protesting against a new curriculum established by the Education Ministry. And they're also protesting to demand more funds for Bolivia's education sector. Violence rose with the police firing tear gas and paint pellets and protesters responding with sticks and explosives. India, Japan, and France have decided to announce a new platform for creditors to coordinate the restructuring of Sri Lanka's debt. The announcement was made by Japanese Finance Minister Shunichi Suzuki. He also mentioned that it would be very nice if China joins the initiative. Sri Lanka has secured a $2.9 billion bailout from the International Monetary Fund last month. The IMF has slashed cash-strapped Pakistan's growth outlook. It says Pakistan's economy will grow just 0.5% this year, down from 6% in 2022. The IMF also forecasts 27% inflation for this year for the country of more than 230 million people. Former US President Donald Trump is suing his former lawyer Michael Cohen for more than $500 million. The lawsuit comes after Cohen testified before a Manhattan grand jury. The jury went on to indict Trump on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Trump's indictment marks the first time in U.S. history that a former president has been charged with a crime. U.S. firefighters are battling a massive fire at a recycling plant in Indiana's Richmond. The blaze has led to an evacuation order for more than 2,000 residents at risk of toxic fumes. Teams are taking samples of the water immediately surrounding the fire to test for possible contamination. Ghana has become the first country to approve a new malaria vaccine. The vaccine has been described as a world changer by the scientists who developed it. A new vaccine is called R21. It appears to be hugely effective, in stark contrast to previous ventures in the same field. Ghana's drug regulators assessed the final trial data on the vaccine's safety and effectiveness before deciding to use it. The final trial data has not yet been made public. E-cigarette maker Juul Labs will pay more than $460 million over 8 years to settle claims by 6 U.S. states. The e-cigarette giant is trying to resolve claims that it unlawfully marketed its addictive products to minors. With this deal, Juul has now settled with 45 U.S. states for more than $1 billion. The company did not admit wrongdoing in the settlement. Under pressure from regulators, Juul pulled most of its flavors from the market and halted much of its advertising in 2019. Authorities in Australia have warned of violent winds as Tropical Cyclone Illa approaches the region. Forecasters predict Cyclone Illa to be a Category 4 storm. That would make it one of the most powerful cyclones that the region has seen in a decade. Researchers in Australia have repeatedly warned that climate change will amplify the risk of natural disasters. This includes bushfires, floods, and cyclones. The U.S. state of Florida has been hit by floods. Parts of the state have received over 35 centimeters of rain. The National Weather Service reported that a flash flood emergency has been issued in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Some parts of the city are underwater. The situation is so bad that a pedestrian was seen swimming in floodwater. South Korea's capital, Seoul, is witnessing a dust storm. Dust particles are affecting air quality in the city. The Ministry of Environment has raised a yellow dust warning to caution Seoul residents. The world is expected to use fewer fossil fuels to produce electricity this year. This is according to a new report. This would bring the first ever annual drop in the use of coal, oil and gas to generate electricity. Electricity generation is the single biggest contributor to global warming. It was responsible for over a third of energy-related carbon emissions in 2021. The Russian space agency Roscosmos has released footage of a volcano spewing ash after it erupted. The volcano is located in Russia's eastern Kamchatka region. Settlements near the volcano were shown covered in ash. People have been urged to stay at home. Schools in the nearby areas have been closed. Australia's wildlife officials have released endangered baby loggerhead turtles back into the wild in Sydney. It took several wildlife and animal rescue organizations to release the hatchlings. Loggerhead turtles usually inhabit the warmer parts of world oceans. They are present in the Mediterranean Sea, but they have mainly nested in a handful of places including Florida, Oman and Mozambique. The Bank of Canada has increased its growth forecast for 2023. It has hiked its forecast to 1.4%, up from 1% predicted in January. The Canadian Central Bank has also said that it now sees lower risks of a recession this year. In its monetary policy report, however, the bank said inflation would not hit its desired target of 2% until the end of 2024. Switzerland's parliament has rejected the financial guarantees it used to rescue Credit Suisse last month. The vote is a symbolic rebuke for the authorities. However, the government's financial commitment cannot be overturned. The Swiss Finance Ministry said, and I quote, "This decision has no impact on the takeover of Credit Suisse decided on March 19th. Japanese investment firm SoftBank is eyeing to sell almost all of its remaining shares in China's Alibaba group. Alibaba shares are one of the most valuable assets in SoftBank's portfolio. It had bought stakes in the Chinese conglomerate more than 2 decades ago with just $20 million. Alibaba had recently announced that it would split the company's operations into 6 business units. China's property developer Sunac China Holdings, their shares plunged 45% on Thursday. This comes as the company just resumed trading after a suspension of more than 1 year. Sunac is among the many Chinese property developers that failed to pay their debts last year. Debt defaults from various property developers caused a major real estate crisis in China in 2020. Motorcycle maker Harley-Davidson has said its chief financial officer, Gina Gorter, is leaving the company. She will depart the company in April. Gorter was appointed the CFO in September 2020. She played an integral role in the company's restructuring plan. The plan was called Rewire. It led to Harley-Davidson phasing out less popular bike models and reworking its business strategy. Twitter CEO Elon Musk says that the company is roughly breaking even. This comes as most of its advertisers are returning. It's also due to Twitter's aggressive cost-cutting measures. Musk said the company now had only 1,500 employees, down from 8,000. That's an 80% workforce reduction. Media reports suggest that India's smartphone exports have more than doubled over the last year. They rose to more than $11 billion worth from a little over $5 billion worth. This is for the period 2022 to 2023. Apple accounted for 45% of smartphone exports from India in the 2023 financial year. Exports by Chinese smartphone firms fell 26%. Italy has agreed to lift a ban on ChatGPT, provided it meets the country's demands. Italy's data protection agency set out a list of demands for ChatGPT founder OpenAI. The authority requires OpenAI to inform users of the method and logic behind processing their data. This is one of the several requirements that the authority put up. Photo messaging app Snapchat has hired former Google executive Darshan Kantak to spearhead its digital ads team. Kantak previously managed Google search ads in Alphabet. The move comes as part of the company's efforts to improve the performance of its digital ads. Digital ad platforms like Snap have been severely hurt after Apple made major changes to its privacy rules in 2021. The changes made it easy for iPhone users to opt out of being tracked across apps. Chipmaker Intel has said that it's in talks with UK-based chip designer ARM. Intel is seeking to ensure that mobile phone chips and other products that use ARM's technology can be made in Intel's factories. Intel's technological manufacturing has been hurt by rivals like Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co. TSMC is the global leader in making chips for customers like Apple. Moving on to sports, Chennai Super Kings lost to Rajasthan Royals by a slender 3-run margin in match number 17 of IPL 2023. This was played at Chennai's M.A. Chidambaram Stadium last evening. CSK needed 176 runs to chase in the 20 overs. However, the MS Dhoni-led side could only muster 172 for the loss of 6 wickets in a game that went down to the wire. Punjab Kings will take on defending champions Gujarat Titans in Mohali this evening. The Titans conceded 5 sixes in the final over to lose their last match against Kolkata Knight Riders. Meanwhile, Punjab Kings lost to Sunrisers Hyderabad on Sunday. The match is scheduled to begin at 7:30 p.m. IST. Despite a slump in his form, Indian batsman Suryakumar Yadav continues to top the newly released ICC Men's T20 International Batter Rankings. He is leading the chart with 906 rating points. Yadav is ahead of the Pakistani duo of Mohammad Rizwan and skipper Babar Azam, South Africa's Aidan Markram, and Devon Conway of New Zealand. Meanwhile, former Indian skipper Virat Kohli remains static at the 15th spot. Indian wrestlers Nisha Dahiya and Priya Malik clinched silver and bronze medals in their respective weight categories at the ongoing Asian Wrestling Championship. The championship is being held in Kazakhstan's Astana. Dahiya was a bronze medalist at the Under-23 World Championships in the 65 kg category last year. She competed in the 68 kg category in the Kazakh meet this year. AC Milan have taken a step towards a first Champions League semi-final appearance in 16 years. The development comes after Ismail Benasser's goal earned them a 1-0 win over Napoli in their quarter-final first leg. This was at the San Siro late last evening. Napoli began pressing immediately, but the hosts took the lead 5 minutes before the interval. The second leg of the quarter-final is in Napoli on April 18th. European champions Real Madrid beat 10-man Chelsea 2-0 in their Champions League quarter-final first leg late last evening. A tap-in by Karim Benzema and a powerful strike by substitute Marco Asensio helped the Madristas snatch a crucial first-leg victory. Meanwhile, Chelsea's interim coach Frank Lampard has said that "I need to be the first one that believes that this is possible." He also said fans will boost them during the second leg at Stamford Bridge next week. Europa League specialists Sevilla are at Old Trafford to take on Manchester United in the first leg of the quarter-final later this evening. The Andalusian outfit have endured a disappointing season, hovering just above the relegation zone in La Liga. Sevilla last faced Manchester United in the 2019-20 edition of the Europa League, defeating them 2-1 in the semi-finals. The second leg of the tie will be played in Sevilla on April 20th. Italy has submitted its bid to host the 2032 European Championship. This has been submitted to European football's governing body, UEFA. Italy's football body said that the tournament will be staged across multiple Italian cities if the bid is accepted. Turkey has also submitted a bid to host either the 2028 or the 2032 Euros. UEFA said it will evaluate each of the bids in the coming months. The European body's executive committee will vote on hosting rights for both tournaments in October. UFC organizers have announced that YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul and ex-UFC fighter Nate Diaz will meet in a boxing match. This will be on August 5th in Dallas, Texas in the US. Diaz is an accomplished boxer who competed in the UFC until last year. Meanwhile, 26-year-old Paul will return to action after suffering the first loss of his boxing career at the hands of Tommy Fury in February. France's soft toy manufacturers are making hundreds of mascots in various sizes each day. This is in the run-up to the 2024 Paris Olympics. Phrygian caps will be the Paris 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games mascots as organizers look to celebrate the French Revolution's spirit. The red Phrygian caps will come in two versions, the standard Olympic one and the Paralympic one with a blade leg. Actor Mia Goth has joined the reboot of Marvel Studios' film Blade. She will join actor Mahershala Ali, who plays Blade in the movie. Marvel had revealed plans for a reboot at the San Diego Comic-Con in 2019. The film will be directed by Yann Demange. Fox Network has announced that its new reality series will simulate what it might be like to be an astronaut on Mars. The show is titled Stars on Mars. It will send participants to a simulator recreating the Red Planet, where they will compete in various missions. Actor William Shatner will serve as mission control. In 2021, Shatner became the oldest person to be sent to space. Actor Julie Bowen has joined the cast of upcoming thriller series Hysteria. The actor will play the role of Linda Campbell. The series is set in a Midwestern town in the US of the 1980s. Hysteria has been under production since August 2022. Actor Billy Porter is set to play late writer and activist James Baldwin in a new film. The name of the film has not yet been decided. The story will be adapted from David Leeming's 1994 book, James Baldwin, A Biography. The biopic follows Baldwin's life as a writer and civil rights activist in the US of the 40s. Rapper Nicki Minaj is set to star in the animated series Lady Danger. The show is an adaptation of the comic book series of the same name. The futuristic show is set in the year 2075 and follows a government field agent. Minaj will also executive produce the series along with rapper 50 Cent. Actor Sylvester Stallone has signed a multi-year deal with Amazon Studios. The deal will see Stallone write, direct and star in film and television projects. His company, Balboa Productions, will undertake the development of these projects. The shows and movies will then stream on OTT platforms. Actor Ben Stiller will direct a film titled This But Again. The film is adapted from a short story by screenwriter and novelist David Iserson. The plot explores themes of love and fate in the midst of a software error. Stiller will also produce the film. Actor Ariana DeBose is set to host the Tony Awards for the second year in a row. DeBose is a Tony nominee herself. She was nominated for her performance in the 2018 show Summer, the Donna Summer musical. The 76th Annual Tony Awards will air live from New York on June 11th. The sports drama series A League of Their Own gets renewed for a second and final season. While the first season had 8 episodes, the final season will have only 4. The series is an adaptation of Penny Marshall's 1992 film of the same name. It follows the formation of the World War II-era women's baseball team in the US. Streaming platform Netflix has cancelled the comedy series Freebridge after just 1 season. The series ran for 8 episodes in February this year. It followed 4 friends working to reverse a curse. The show was a spin-off of the drama series On My Block.